Okay, well, here we are with another episode of The Bad Batch. Welcome to the Good Batch
Mm,
podcast. We are talking about The Bad Batch, episode 2, Cut and Run. Um, Definitely a shorter episode, obviously. We had the 90-minute episode last week, or I guess at the beginning of this week. And I believe they're just going to be every Friday now. What'd you
yeah.
think?
Phew. I felt like I watched that 10 or 20-minute part of Harry Potter where he goes to Weasley's farm. And you're like, just get to Hogwarts, please. That's what I think.
Okay. So you
That's what
weren't
I think.
really into this episode. Sounds
I
like.
wasn't, I was not zazzed by it. I wasn't like disappointed. This is very, to me, when people tell me, hey, you want to watch Clone Wars? I go, oh, and this is what I think of it.
Yeah,
Like that's what the general person, in my opinion, thinks of when they say Clone Wars. Is this typical kid cartoon
yeah.
generic thing?
So that's fair because in the Clone Wars, there's definitely three categories. There's like the um, really really good episodes, the mediocre, and then there's just like the kid episodes. I feel like this one's a mediocre. It's not necessarily kid. The kid ones, are really goofy and just kind of dumb. I still think they try to do something here, but
Mm.
yeah, they go back to Cutter. He is a clone that not defected, but went AWOL, and he was in the Clone Wars, and he just wanted to start a family, and so he met this Twi'lek, which is ironic because I was gonna say, last episode we were talking about how humans and Twi'leks can they mate. Here you go, they
Same
can.
question. I have the same question this week. I was wondering. I was like, okay, are these his kids? Are these
They're
because I
his kids,
noticed
yeah,
one of the kids had like coloration
yeah,
mess, like it was like discolored on his face, and I was like, okay, is that because he's half human?
yeah. They're like dogs.
Oh my god!
They're just breeding different breeds, and they come out looking polka dotted.
Wow. Yeah.
Um, it's interesting because Omega. I'm still not really of a fan, but like, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I'm getting serious Millie Bobby Brown vibes from her.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. Like,
Yeah.
I think I was just like, there was a scene at the beginning when she's getting out of the ship, and I'm like, that kind of looks like Millie Bobby Brown. And
Okay.
then I was thinking, oh well, I think Millie Bobby Brown could play someone like this, but I don't know. We'll see. She's very innocent, obviously. Uh, I don't
I
know.
think
I feel like it kind of takes us out of the episode, like when she's doing her thing. Like, what's this? Like, it's dirt. Oh,
yeah. Which I mean, I guess that's kind of cool considering that she's never really experienced anything past that. But I don't really want to watch the Omega show.
oh, I agree.
I kind of want to watch the Bad Batch
I
show.
do too. I want to see Empire, Bad Batch, like that kind of stuff. And this
Mhm.
Omega character is, I'm not a fan. I'm not a
I
fan.
I still like her. I just do not want her to be the focus, like Baby Yoda became the focus of Mandalorian, if that makes sense.
Exactly. She's a much less awesome Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Where
Like,
her and Hunter are like that dynamic. Like, is it gonna like the whole time I was kind of thinking Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us,
mm-hmm,
but Ellie is way more likable. This
mm-hmm.
girl is just way too innocent, and it just I don't know. It makes the show
Children.
very childish. Yeah.
Yeah, children.
Um,
It was weird because Dave Filoni had his hands in Mandalorian, correct?
yeah. And see, like
This
Dave Filoni is also responsible for the Clone Wars,
this
but
felt me. This felt to me. This episode felt very much like that Bryce Dallas Howard episode of Mandalorian this past season, or
okay.
no, in season one, I think, where they go to like that little farm and they're like, "Oh, maybe I can keep you here, baby Grogu," even though these people have no idea about your genetic makeup. I don't even know if they'd be able to raise you correctly.
Right.
But you can stay because I'm not father material. And then somebody there's like, you could be father material. And except it didn't have a really cool battle at the end with an ATST. So That's what this episode felt like to me.
I agree. I was right there with you. But yeah, I feel like Omega is getting way too much screen time, and I hope it pays off because this episode was all about her. Um, like what do we do with her? And like it was a filler in a sense. Like this episode all it did is tell us like, oh, she wants to be with the Bad Batch. She doesn't want a normal life, whatever that is. And so like I don't know, we'll see, but yeah, she was
Yeah.
playing catch with the kids. We got to see one of those cat creatures, which is kind of cool. Um,
Why are you living next to cat creatures?
well, it's
Why
just the
haven't you
planet. So,
destroyed that
so
cat
just so
creature?
you're aware, this is the planet Ryloth.
No, isn't it Saki Sakalami Salakami or whatever? Like I'm pretty sure it was like Salakami. That's the only thing that I did go back and like check. Okay, what planet was this? Because I've never heard of it before, and
Does
I'd be
it
curious to know what
say
it's
in the
planet.
episode?
It does, yeah. Like
Oh,
yeah. Rambo's like, or not Rambo. Fuck. we're Hunter's like we're going to Salakami, and I was like, oh, okay. I've never heard of this place before.
well, I
It's
guess I'm
pretty
wrong. Yeah,
close.
I thought it was Ryloth, where the Twi'lek people are from. But
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. So it's like Salakami, which is a place I've never heard before. Maybe it's popped up in Star Wars lore before. I've never heard of it. But like, just a lot of the stuff is like they're just casually walking through these fields, and it's like, okay, that's cool if we know what these fields are. But this kid like is touching a lot of stuff, like playing with bugs. Is like, I don't know. Maybe I'm too much into thinking of like that one Alien movie where they hop down to the planet and then they're like looking at all the cool plants and the plants are actively trying to kill them because they're alien and they have no idea what is going on. Like that's what it felt like to me. I was just like, why are they just casually walking through the Bad Batch? I can assume know what some of these things are, these plants, but Omega for sure should not be touching that orange looking plant. She should not be playing with that bug that's like blah, 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 blah. Like she shouldn't be messing with these things, and they should be keeping an eye on her a
oh,
little
I
bit more
agree.
carefully.
I agree.
Throw a
Um,
ball outside the fence. Hey, don't go out there. I'm gonna go out there anyway on this planet I've never been to, and oh,
so I did have some problems with this episode as well, but it wasn't necessarily Omega. My problems was actually with Hunter. Do you know why?
okay, go for it.
So they when Omega is playing with the kids and stuff, Hunter and Cut go into town
Hmm.
to find transport, and
Yeah,
obviously they're like, we gotta make sure that we don't cause any attention or whatever. Dude, Hunter has a giant face tattoo on his face that I think would catch attention. And then
yeah,
also, he looks like a clone with long hair, right?
no,
And it's just
yeah.
like, he is the last person I would want out there with his giant war face tattoo.
Like very few clones, I'm sure, wear red bandanas like Rambo,
Yeah.
and like these guys were so hated, but everybody knows who they are. That's Unit 99. Like everybody knows who they are, so it's like you would think that they would know who these people are, but maybe they just got lucky and maybe they found the one planet
Yeah.
that the clones are like, oh, we know about them, but we've never seen them before.
I mean, send in Tech. He has a receding hairline. he, yeah, he looks, I don't know. Or you know
Yeah,
what? Even
yeah.
Wrecker. Wrecker doesn't really look like a clone. He just is a
Well,
big.
yeah, because he's big, he's genetically different. Yeah, I was okay with Wrecker talking to clones and not getting found out or whatever. And Tech has glasses; he can kind of conceal his face a little bit.
Yeah.
Echo is like half cyborg, and he's got like there's different things. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Where it's like Hunter is like, nah, you're like pretty close to the original. And even in the episode, there's a scene where the guy goes, "Hey, you kind of look like," and then because of like reasons, he goes, "Nah, I
Oh,
gotta go away now."
yeah. We'll get into that too. But yeah, Tech had some time again in this episode. He's the guy that I guess they go to get stuff done.
Mm,
Um, even though like I think his because like these guys they all have their um what they're not good at, right? Like for example, Wrecker is not necessarily bright. Tech I think is too smart, where he just believes that everyone understands what's going on, and
Right.
we see that in this episode,
A couple of times. Yeah.
with like the inhibitor, excuse me, the inhibitor chip, and just like how everything has to be done, and then having to like go and he's a terrible soldier. He does this plan, getting their ship impounded, and doesn't tell anyone. He just is like, yeah, we're doing it, and then so be it.
Right.
They just put themselves in this situation. And I guess
Yeah.
that's what the Bad Batch is all about. They're kind of dysfunctioned clones. That make things happen.
Yeah, like if they're not together,
Mhm.
they could easily be taken down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when they do come together, it's like, oh, cool, A-Team's back. Like we figured it out. That's what it seemed like to me because you're right. Like Tech was like, oh, I have a plan. This is a perfect plan. There are no flaws. And then you
Right.
introduce the flaw of, oh, there was a kid on the ship. It's like, well, maybe you should have looked maybe over your shoulder and heard a kid like sitting there sobbing. But Tech, of course, intelligence is his, kind of downfall in a weird way.
We
Yeah, I would say he was the MVP, but then that plan did fall down, and then it was like, okay, well, Echo's the MVP because he's hacking everything.
I was
And that
about to
plan fell
say
down.
I was actually about to say we know who is not the MVP, and I was going to say Echo.
He couldn't hack
He
it.
didn't do
I don't know
anything.
what's going
And you
on.
know what? Like, here's the thing about Echo. We talked about it last episode. He didn't have like a lot of screen time, voice lines, that kind of stuff. Um,
Hmm.
he definitely had some more here, but he was almost useless, which is interesting. Like, I wonder if they'll play into that. I don't think so. I think it's bad writing. But like the thing I don't like about Echo is Echo was really cool in the Clone Wars. He is their droid. That's all he is now.
Yeah,
He's the droid of the group. And I don't like that at all. Like, he should have the most, I guess, like, I feel like, should be the most interesting out of all of them because he's been through so much. Like,
hmm
it'd be really interesting to play into that more and, like, see, what's going on in his head. And, because he has some serious PTSD. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, no, you're the droid. Go put your little hand wrench and stuff and go get the stuff. And oh yeah, you need to take off our impounded ship, and you can't do that, so we're just gonna have Wrecker do it. It's just like,
yeah.
oh,
Just punch
dude.
it.
Yeah, I'm
Which
not.
which begs the question is like, why don't you just punch it anyway?
No kidding.
Like
Okay,
this whole,
so yeah, so
yeah,
they go and they get the ship impounded, obviously, right? And things go super sideways. I had a problem with this whole episode,
okay.
especially right here, like the last bit of the episode. So
Hmm.
there's a firefight going on, between the troopers that are in the uh, hangar or whatever you would call it, the field of aircraft, and then
Yeah,
through Echo and Tech. Okay, and during this firefight, there's other troopers that are still taking credit chips or whatever they're called. I can't remember.
right.
Oh yeah, you can get on the plane. You're good. Like no, like if it was like an airport and there was a firefight going on, you're not getting on a plane, dude. Like you're not.
Yeah,
100%
yeah,
you're not. They're not gonna let anyone on a plane. And so like the fact that they're just like being all casual about it, like oh yeah yeah, oh there's a firefight over there. Next,
yeah.
it's just like
Yeah,
what?
I think I think I agree with you. I think the maybe the strongest parts of the episode were when they were showcasing how the clones are turning into stormtroopers and how the Republic is turning into the Empire. That
Mm-hmm.
was maybe the strongest bit for me. And then you have the whole Omega nonsense, and then this whole end of we must not get caught, we must get on the shuttle, we must not do this, and then all of that happens almost immediately. I think maybe if they could have focused on it was because they were not a united like fist, right?
Right.
Which is like interesting because they're all kind of different parts of a hand, and when you come together as a fist, you can actually get stuff done. I really like that as a storyline, but it just wasn't really threaded together as neatly as it should have been. It was a very cartoonesque children Y7
Well,
episode.
the thing I will say, and this has nothing to do with like the rating, it does have to do with like my critique of the show, is if you go back and you pause the episode, like when it's
Hmm.
like close up shots of like Hunter's face, or like when Echo is doing his little bit with the droid thing and It shows like his helmet. The animators are so good. They are so talented. Because like if you look at like Hunter with his helmet off up close, like you can see
Yeah.
his face pores,
Yeah.
the lines. Like it's so good. And then like with Echo, I paused it where he's doing his little bit and he's getting the chips. You can see all the little scratches on his armor and stuff. It's so good. They do a phenomenal job animating this. It's just like this episode definitely I feel like was very weak. It's kind of interesting to see where they can kind of go with this, I guess, just because it's interesting they went back to Cutter or Cut because he has made a life for himself and he's made it work. And it'll be interesting to see like how the Bad Batch is going to do what they want to do, but I can't imagine this ends with all of them living on a farm.
I predict some tragedy.
I feel like there's going to be some deaths for sure. But
I'm holding with what I said last time, but yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if Rex comes into this though, because they did talk about him in this episode, and he was at the farm before they showed up. And you don't know a lot about Rex because you didn't watch the Clone Wars, but he is really awesome. You'd really like him.
So
probably
like, why
the most popular clone.
Why are we going? Why did we come to Cut? We came to Cut because he's been on the lam. He knows. And is that really the only reason we came here?
I think they went to Cut because they didn't have anywhere else to go. They didn't know where else to go, and I think what Hunter's plan was to try to figure out like how he's made it work.
Do we know from the Clone Wars like how the Bad Batch knows where he's at?
Yeah. So the Bad Batch actually meets. I can't remember the exact episode, but if I remember it correctly, one of the Bad Batch gets hurt. It might be Hunter, and Cut finds him or something like that, and they basically nurse him back to health. And then like they have like a farm standoff against something. I don't know if it's droids. I can't remember, but yeah, we've seen Cut before.
Right. Yeah. Why are we going to him? Like, if he's so good at hiding, how are you easily finding him? And if you can easily find him,
only because they already know where he's at.
Then why would you go there? You know that Crosshair knows everything that you do.
I don't know. I don't remember the episode too well, but I don't know if Crosshair was there. I think if I remember it right, it might have just been Hunter.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Because last episode the tease was like, "Where are we going, Hunter?" And he was like, "I know a guy." Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
If I remember it correctly, I think that's what happened.
But I mean, again, like, hey, Hunter, you're a great leader now. I don't think you're gonna be a great leader forever. I don't know about this plan. You go to this guy to get help, and really, it was basically the Hunter doubting his fathership role of Omega. That's really all it was, because he offered no real help. He was like, well, Empire's moving in, so I'm heading out. I can't help you. I can't give you advice. Hey, but you'd be a good dad, though. You'd be a good, you could do this. It's tough, but you can do it. Like, it was, like, very strange.
Yeah, I really hope they're not pulling a Mandalorian.
This felt like a mini Mandalorian to me. But without
thought out Mandalorian.
Without Baby Grogu being adorable, without Pedro Pascal being very connected.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, here's the thing. Is if we replaced Omega with Baby Yoda and we had never seen Baby Yoda before, I think this episode would have been amazing. I just think that it's because it's Omega. We don't like Omega.
No, I like Omega.
Do you?
Yeah, I like Omega. I liked her in the first episode, but in the second episode, suddenly, like, she stops being first episode Omega. Like, she just becomes this thing that needs to be protected all the time. Like, in the first episode, she hits a crack shot on Crosshair. First time, I'm assuming, that she has fired a blaster ever. And she just does it perfectly, and it's like, ooh, well, what's special about her? Interesting. Okay, she's a mystery. And then here, she's just a normal kid. She's silly, she's fun, she's Millie Bobby Brown, she's running around, she's touching stuff. Dirt, haha. Like, it's like really weird. It's like, I don't know. Something was off about Omega in this one, and I hope that the direction goes more towards no, we want to focus on the Bad Batch. We want to focus on Echo and his internal struggles of being half cyborg, half what human clone, whatever.
Yeah,
And we want to focus on like Tech and his intelligence being his like pride and his pride being his downfall or whatever. Like that would be fun for me to watch.
I agree.
Me watching Omega grow like you said, Last of Us esque storyline with Hunter and stuff. I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with all of that. Do you have any predictions where they're going with this?
Um, I mean, I would hope some place where they're gonna get their skills and utilize their skills a little bit more. Again, I think it's gonna be kind of a long arc. Crosshair's just gonna keep tracking them, and again, near the end, Hunter is gonna have to lay down his life for Omega, and that's
See,
gonna be
yeah,
it.
I actually have a prediction with that. I think my prediction is Hunter is going to sacrifice himself and die by Crosshair. But I
Hmm.
feel like it's not only going to be to save Omega, but he's willingly going to give his life to almost break Crosshair. Where Crosshair is going to be like, he's going to snap out of it and realize about the chip. And I think
Yeah,
Crosshair is going to be redeemed, is my
yeah,
point.
the Omega Seed, the Omega Seed,
And what would
the
be
Omega Seed.
interesting is, let's just say hypothetically, like let's go down the rabbit hole of like the Joel and Ellie relationship, or the baby Groot, baby Yoda and Mandalorian. Could you
Hmm.
imagine if all the Bad Batch die but Crosshair, and he has to take care of Omega, because like they are probably the less compatible.
Mm.
That might be interesting. I don't know.
Might be. Yeah, they'd have to play it very carefully because again, I mean a lot of people didn't like The Last of Us 2 when all their favorite characters were killed by this character and then the character had a redeeming arc. Like so like it's really tough to write that.
I agree.
Um but is it possible? Sure.
Yeah, I agree. Um, So yeah, that's really all my predictions. Out of 10, what would you rank this episode?
Oh, for me, I think I'm gonna go. It's tough because I was like so still coming down from that awesome first episode. So I
Yeah,
was like, okay, I'm it's not the best, but they did have some cool like imagery of clones slowly morphing into stormtroopers, being done. Like it was like really cool. So there was a little bit there that I was like, okay, there's some value here. I was a little curious about like Cut and his story. Again, I had questions about his wife and all that, his kids and all that stuff. So I'm gonna go 6. I think it was a 6. It was slightly better than average type thing
yeah.
for me.
I'm leaning between 5 and 6 as well. I thought it was very average. It was a very average episode. The pacing was okay, but I think I gotta go a 5 just because I feel like the story writing was pretty lazy. I feel like it was very convenient just to like do what they were trying to do, and it wasn't really well thought out. I had a really big problem with a firefight happening in this spaceport, and they're still letting like citizens jump on planes and stuff. Like it didn't, and like I know this is science fiction, right? But like it didn't feel realistic. These
Yeah,
guys are clone troopers. They are elite, soldiers. They would lock it down. They wouldn't just let people jump on planes and stuff. And then also their security was absolutely terrible. A kid got past him like 3 times.
yeah, yeah. I think Wrecker did too.
And Wrecker, he's huge.
Yeah, Tech and Echo being able to do it. They're a little smaller. They're more tech enthused, and they can like. They're soldiers and stuff. That makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Again, it was very kid-esque of me this episode. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's where we're at. It's a pretty average episode. I hope that, going forward it gets better. I still have faith that they have a story to tell for sure. But I don't want it just to be Star Wars filler. Like I want them to tell a story. Because so far, it's just kind of filler. And like I was really excited to see these misfit clone troopers take on the Empire. Um,
here's what I would have written in this episode. You really want to sell Omega, and this seems like an Omega episode to me. So instead of having her make a dumb decision like go get a ball that's outside of a fence or whatever, and then just stand there and wait for the thing to attack her instead of just running, whatever, like all this stuff was just really connected to me. But instead of that, why don't you have her have a couple of scenes where she's contemplating, why am I not like that kid? That kid's having so much fun.
I agree.
Why did I not have that life? They have mom and dad. I don't have a mom and dad. Why not have a scene with Hunter saying, I don't know who my parents were, and have them connect on that level of neither do we, kid. Like, that would be way impactful.
I agree.
But instead it was very, look at this big cat.
I 100% agree. I think that would have been better. It would definitely give her more depth.
Yeah, and you can relate her, and you can get her more and more part of the Bad Batch, part of the clone, part of the group by saying, yeah, you're a clone too. You don't have parents.
Well, so far she's a puppy. That's all she is. She's just a puppy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She just wants to be around them. Is very innocent. Doesn't know what's going on. Gets into trouble. You know, it's just she's a puppy, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much. So that's about all I got. 6 out of 10. Nah.
That's all we got to. All right. Well, next episode is next week. Thank you all for listening. Please subscribe. Check us out on Patreon, Twitter, Good Batch Show, and we appreciate your support. A lot more is going to be coming out. If you guys have any suggestions of what you would like us to do, or things to even go back on, we're open for it. We have some ideas, but stay tuned. A lot more is to come. Do you have anything else to say, Derek?
No.
All right. Well, thank you all again for listening, and we'll see you next time.